This video is an update of main crop garden number 5. It's early Sunday morning, day before Memorial Day, about a month after I made the initial video. I've actually made other videos of this garden in the past, but about a month ago I did a video. I called it, "Do you want to start a permaculture garden?" And these are ideas that I have been experimenting with because I took a permaculture design course. Just a way to think on how, a discovery process, if you will. But a quick review: this 15 square feet is surrounded by fencing. I've got these smaller 7-foot cedar poles that I put in the ground. They're about 20 inches or 2 feet in the ground, and they're 5 feet out of the ground. And on the north side I have a wooden fence, because here in the northern hemisphere we get our cold north winds. It's to shield the garden from the cold winds. It also serves to radiate some of the sunlight as it's coming down, going back into the garden. On the east and west and south portions of the fence we have 2x3 inch welded wire. At the bottom I have hardware cloth. It's the green stuff that's coated with a coating that you don't see the metal, and I'm believing that it also is going to keep it to last longer. And I actually buried it in the ground maybe 3-4 inches. That's to slow down the rodents from coming in. And the entire fencing all the way around I'm using is trellising. I am not employing all of it yet, but we will be as the grapevines grow, and I also have some kiwis growing in here. So part of the other construction is I'm using these bricks as a means to not compact the soil. So these bricks are 5 to 6 inches long. So instead of stepping and compressing the topsoil, I'm compressing 5 or 6 inches below the topsoil. And there may be some topsoil there too, because I've been really growing a lot, but what we're doing is we're preserving the oxygen in the topsoil where we're planting our crops. So this is also constructed in circle beds. I'm going to take the camera off now. So you can see in the center of the circle is that's actually some that one is grass, long grass, but underneath that long grass I've been applying kitchen discards, mainly like banana peels and apple cores and things of that nature, eggshells. No meat, we don't want to attract rodents, and it doesn't take long. And actually I should mention this: you want to put material in there that's going to decompose quickly. You don't want it to linger. And the idea here behind it is the soil life is going to come and eat it, and that's part of the decomposition process. And it's the soil life, it's the secretions of soil life, it's the dead bodies of soil life that feed our plants. So this particular bed here is planted with candy onions, and right directly next to the inner circle there are shallots. And I'm going to be planting tomatoes in here, but I'm going to wait another week yet. In the buckets I have discovered a process to take care of flea beetles. Oh, look, I caught a lot of them. I just set this up just yesterday. Oh, there's a ton of them in there. But you put a banana peel in water and it attracts flea beetles, and they jump in there and they drown. And I put it next to the stinging nettle because the stinging nettles have a lot of holes in them. That's an indication of flea beetles. They also eat my radishes. They eat grape leaves. So that's the bucket, natural pest control. The next circle bed we have potato onions, and along the edge we have radishes growing, and I'm going to be picking the first radishes today and having breakfast with them. Where there aren't any radishes here in the circle bed, I planted beet seeds and carrot seeds, and I haven't seen any come up yet. They were kind of older seeds, so we'll see what happens. The next circle bed these were actually the premium grade of the potato onions. And the entire circle I also planted with 30-day radishes. And here you can see I got radishes. So to continue on with the circle beds, on the other side of my brick path, here we have onions and kohlrabi. The kohlrabi, these are the Cossack variety, and they grow very large. I've grew them up to 12 pounds, 12 and a half pounds, I think. Heaviest one was. And the idea here is I've planted them densely because I'm going to begin to harvest them as soon as they're maybe the size of a hardball. And there we have a sweet banana pepper next to another pail full of water with a banana peel. Oh, look at that. We got flea beetles right there. Look at that. Okay, so this is our third circle bed of kohlrabi and onions. And there I planted a ground cherry. And now we're transitioning. This is garlic. This is Upper Michigan garlic. And there's a Swiss chard. I had ramps growing in this half of the circle bed, but the ramps just don't like any sunlight. You can see they're really suffering. I've got ramps growing all over the place, and in the sunlight they don't do it. So maybe I'll harvest those two this morning too and eat them right away. Since I'm on the subject of ramps, I have ramps in the circle bed there too, and I harvested the ones out more in the sun because they were the same condition, and the ones closer to the fence, they're a little better, but probably I don't know if they're going to live or not. I'm going to leave them go and see what happens. So as I'm going through the circle bed, you can see I've got these little brick steps that I put into the ground that I can walk on instead of walking on the soil. So this bed is needs to have some seeds or some plants put in it yet. It's got half a bed of garlic, and then the next one here, I bought some composted wood shavings from a guy that takes care of horses, and I'm using it as a top cover. And this is garlic, and I've got peas planted in the center of the garlic. I don't know if peas and garlic get along. We're going to find out. Planted a few peas in this one too. This garlic is just nuts. It really likes it here. So we got morning glory coming up here. I'm always, oh no, that's a tree. That's a sucker probably from the cherry tree here next door. Here, these are morning glory. I always pop those out of there. I used to let them really grow and then compost them. They really make good compost material. So this one I've got newspaper over because I've got carrots planted in it. Carrot seeds. What I actually did was I planted flax seeds. Oh, you can see one starting right there. I planted flaxseed on the soil first, and I put a thin layer of compost over it. Then I scattered carrot seed over the top of the compost, and that's what I'm waiting for, to start sprouting like that. When I see a couple more of those sprouting, I'm going to take this newspaper off. Though the flaxseed was really old, I don't know if it's going to sprout or not. It looks like the carrots are going. So here's the next circle bed. This is on the west edge. This one is elephant garlic and peas. And I've got a celery growing there right along the post. And then that's a jalapeno pepper. Another elephant garlic and peas. I was really happy that looked like my blackberry was alive, but I don't think it's, I think it's alive down here. You can see it's growing here. But once we get to this scalded portion here, it's dead, and I don't think it's alive. It's not sprouting. I'll get blackberries out of that lower branches there, but I won't be getting any blackberries above it. So I've got an idea about how to correct that. We'll see how it goes. It's the same thing with this one's got that same scalded. I think there might even be some sort of a pest that does that. But I'm just learning as I go. Here we have some Turkish rocket, and then that last bed with the ramps, I actually planted some little asparagus in here with it. Asparagus up here against the fence. Asparagus seems to do pretty good, partially shaded. And then I have celeriac in the front. And here is an edible plantain right at my foot. And now we're going to get off the circle beds. This is the skirret that I planted. It's doing very good. And I planted some tall telephone peas behind it. I'm going to fix some chicken wire onto this wooden fence here, and they can trellis up that chicken wire. I also planted parsnip seeds in amongst the first row here of skirret, but I don't see any coming up yet. I don't like doing any weeding until I know what I'm pulling out. Okay, and we got a gooseberry here. We got a pear that I bought, but it feels limber. It hasn't leafed out yet. Trying to figure out if it wants to live here, I suppose. In this corner we have a kiwi. See the kiwi growing up the fence. Oh, and I have a grapevine here I talked about last time, but I think it might be dead. We had extreme cold, the coldest winter I've ever experienced. And this grapevine might be dead, but then the one that I planted in front of the blackberry, that one's alive. And back here with the kiwi, I've got a black raspberry. I think I'm going to take all the black raspberries out of my main crop gardens. I've got a big patch in the back. We have a Castleton plum tree that's blossoming for the first time. We have two different varieties of azaroli. We have some plants in here. I forget what this one is. I just bought this from the farmer's market and I didn't get a tag, and I'm racking my brain here as I'm going along. I'm thinking, oh, I know I got some plants here. I can't remember what they are. Anyway, here's a skirret that I have growing all by itself. There is a June berry bush. It's just getting its start. Here's an aronia that's just getting a start. This is some type of European cat mint. Cat mint. I like cat mints because they have a long blossoming period, and the pollinators really like that. This is a butterfly bush. I just bought that, put that in there. Butterfly flower. This is a black currant from Okios, and let me tell you, I got quite a few of his plants around here, and man, they're just all going like crazy this year. If those blossoms turn into black currants, I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. We have a pear tree. That's a spalliard. You can see we got some blossoms on it. This is a patent pear. I've actually had a couple pears off it, and last year or year before, they're pretty good. There's some skirret down in there in the shade that's growing. That's kind of amazing. You see it right in there? Almost totally shaded. And it's growing. That's interesting. Also have some ramps down in there. See right in there. And elephant garlic along that fence line. In front of it is a honeyberry that I mound layered. This is a Captivator gooseberry. Heavenly blue grapevine. We have nettles growing in here, and I'm allowing them to grow because they're companion plants with tomatoes, and you see I got a cage right there that's tied up with that baling twine. I'll be putting a tomato there. And I'm not going to let the nettles grow tall this year in this spot. I'm going to continue to clip them off and put them into the center of the circle beds underneath the straw and the grass. Here we have another honeyberry. And we have a black velvet gooseberry. It's right behind that pail. I haven't decided what I'm going to put in that corner yet. I'm going to put something there. Then I installed a shelf here. I'm going to put pots on it. Grow something in the pots. I don't know what yet. Maybe I'll put one of my pot potatoes there. So that's an update. I think we covered it. Here's my tripod. Oh, I have a yacon here too. I think that'll look kind of neat having a yacon right along the entrance. They grow 5 feet tall and they got really nice leaves. Now, and there's a couple candy onions there too. So I'll harvest those before the yacon gets any size to it. So I don't know if I forgot anything or not, but that's the story right here. It's getting to be breakfast time. I'm going to pull some of those radishes, and I've got onions and garlic growing all over the place that's harvestable. I'll grab some of that. You think about, I have this one single main crop garden number 5, and I've got 5 other ones that are similar to this one. Then I have a 6th one that I use as a composting area, and then I convert it into a main crop garden after I'm done with the composting. So it's working out pretty good. My idea is, here in the cold climate, our ground totally freezes. Anywhere from the end of October to sometimes as late as Christmas, January. It's variable. And then it unthaws most of the time, sometime in March. I want to take this period of time when the ground unthaws to when it totally locks up and freezes again, and I want to have something cropping all the time, something I can harvest all the time. So the entire year I'm getting fresh food out of the gardens, the entire growing season, and getting pretty close to getting that done. Pretty nice. There they are. They're small, but they're the first ones. Thin them out so the other ones can grow bigger. And here is my breakfast. Here are the radishes I picked. And the little stalks here, these are garlics. And the bigger ones are onions. It's bobil head right here. When it starts to grow this bobil, you know you don't have very much longer to be picking your spring onions. It's over. So there I am. I'm gonna go make some coffee and have me some breakfast. Thanks again for watching. There it is.